About a year before I was born, my mom was pregnant with her boyfriend's baby, and he abused her so much to the point where it killed the baby. And so when she found out she was pregnant with me, she got really scared, and she came out and told him, like, I'm pregnant. And he said, you know, I know you gotta go to work, so come over tomorrow and we'll talk about it. And so the next day my mom went to her boyfriend's apartment, and the roommate said that he had left for California. And so, here's my mom, a single parent pretty much, and she has to raise this baby on her own. And so growing up, my mom and my grandparents both raised me, like all three of them. And then when I was 10 months old, Casey Kimes married my mom, and so then he adopted me and I took his last name. So legally he's my father, and then 3 years later they had my sister. So then we grew up actually in Superstition Springs Community Church. We were one of the first families to start going here. And I would sing in the church, and we were really involved, and my dad was even involved in like the youth ministry at the time. But then we moved from Gilbert to Mesa. We switched schools, we switched houses, and then eventually we just like stopped going to the church. And that same year, my parents got a divorce. And like I said, as a 9-year-old, you don't understand divorce. And so I'm just like, oh, Daddy's leaving, he's gonna go live somewhere else. So my mom was back to being a single mom, but this time she was raising 2 kids. So that was really hard. And then, so pretty much I've had different dads in my life. I've had my grandpa for as long as I can remember. And then Casey for the first few years of my life. And then after the divorce, he just kind of dwindled out of my and my sister's life. And so we barely see him, and he barely really pays attention to us. And then since then, my mom's been married a few times. A few years ago, I went to this camp called Centrifuge, and one of the nights they were talking about like obeying your parents. And it applied to me with my mom, but whenever I talked about a dad, like I would say, oh, I don't have a dad, so I don't need to obey my dad. But then like at the end of the night, they made it apparent that God is your father, and he loves you like a child. He wants to be that father figure in your life. And then at that moment it just like clicked, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm a child of God. And as a 7th grader, that just like blew my mind, just the thought of that. And so I became a Christian at Centrifuge, but when I didn't have a dad to like call on, I went through this the state of depression in junior high, where since I didn't really like have anyone to talk to, I didn't really have a whole lot of friends. I would injure myself, like self-inflicting cuts and stuff, because I was just going through a lot of pain, and I didn't understand like why like a God could love me so much. And one of the reasons why I would cut is to like remind myself that I'm still alive and I'm still feeling. Well, during my senior year, I started dating this guy, and he invited me to his church, Superstition Springs. And so I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And then I went for one weekend, and I was like, I loved it. So I would go every Sunday to high school service, and even when he and I broke up, I still went, just because like I felt so close to everyone. And so when I started going to mission, I decided to start reading my Bible more, and I decided to start obeying my father more, because I had really like fallen away from him from the previous years. And so just in realizing that I've upset my dad and I wanted to, make him feel better, I stopped cutting myself. Mostly because it's not worth it, and I don't want to do anything to myself that would harm myself, because God made me this way and he doesn't want any flaws on his masterpiece. I knew Jason Robinson from Gateway Church like a few years ago, and so when his wife came and invited me to go to Ember, well, at the time it was 1824, she was like, you should come, I know you're in college now, so you should come check it out. And at first I was real hesitant because I'm really little, and like, it was the summer before entering college, so I'm like, there's going to be these big, huge college people just like coming to like trample me. And so then I went in and everyone was just so nice and just so welcoming to me. As I continued to meet people, I was like, all of these people are weird. And I loved it because like, I'm the weirdest person I know. And I've never really found a church to fit in because everyone was so like fake or wearing a mask, and like, I'm a perfect Christian, like, and I didn't like that. I think that's why I stopped going to those churches. And so when I came to Ember, everyone was just like them, and it was good. I loved it. So today I still love going to Ember, and I got this tattoo for a reminder to myself. It's in Hebrew, and it says Abba, which is Heavenly Father, just to remind myself that God is my Father and He's looking out for me. And it's also a reminder of my favorite verse, which is John 16:33, and it says, in this world you will have troubles, but have peace because I've overcome the world. And so it's just kind of like, when I have something going wrong, I can just run to Daddy and be like, this is my problem, can you help me? And so